What's going on, everybody? Hope you're having a good day. I came for a live stream today. I wanted to go into something that's very fishy with Bernie Sanders. And I know the opposition of Bernie Sanders already understands that and knows that, but I really want this video to hit home with Bernie Sanders supporters and people who really like him. And I'm not going to blindly hate. I'm not going to be mean. I'm not going to be irrational. I really want to come with facts and analyze what's been going on, and I think people need to pay attention and be honest with the situation, not let their emotions involve. So, within the past couple months, things that Bernie Sanders has done, he's toured with Tom Perez of the DNC. He says Russia hacked the election. He says voter fraud doesn't exist. He said, thank goodness Macron won. Europe is saved. These are all things he said. He's posting the New York Times and the Washington Post. And one thing he's not doing is talking about the DNC lawsuits, which involves a lot of his supporters and would, if it goes through, there'd be a class action lawsuit where his supporters could get money back for virtually being cheated. And regardless of if you like Bernie Sanders or not, I'm going to say two things that are pretty much a fact. One of them would be the most rigged part of the election is the Democratic primary. It's completely rigged. There's super delegates. It's like playing a sports team and adding 40 points to one of the teams at the end. So it's absolutely, completely rigged. It's the most rigged part of the election. It's not, they've said themselves, it's so grassroots activists can't get through. They basically said that themselves. So this is rigged. Why does Bernie Sanders never talk about it? If he cares so much about a democracy and freedom and he wants a fair election, why would he not talk about the most rigged part of the election? And the second part is the mainstream media, the media manipulation, the media bias. He doesn't talk about that at all anymore. He actually embraces the media that is the most corrupt and most biased. He posts the New York Times, the Washington Post. He's on MSNBC, and that's fine. Get your press, get your attention while you have it. I'm not knocking that, but he doesn't speak against it. So if you really care about the American people, you're going to want to address the root problems. I don't know if that's my neighbor knocking or not. And two of the root problems are the mainstream media, the way the media manipulates us. It's fear-based, it's dishonest, it doesn't give candidates a fair shake whatsoever. And the Democratic primary. So why is Bernie Sanders not talking about any of this? Meanwhile, he's talking about Russia, he's talking about, voter fraud being virtually non-existent. That's fine, talk about these things, talk about your policies, but to completely ignore the mainstream media and the fact that we have a president who's actively calling that out, and the Democratic primary when your people are in a lawsuit, it's very, very sketchy, and I just want people to question this because I don't think Bernie Sanders is who a lot of people think he is. And I know a lot of people say one of the most common thoughts within the Bernie Sanders group is they think, well, he got threatened, so they justify everything he does because he got threatened. And that's fine. It's a heavy possibility that he did get threatened, but it would be like Martin Luther King, coming out and being pro-segregation all of a sudden, being like, forget civil rights. I'm not about civil rights anymore. And people being like, well, it's cool because, he got threatened. So it makes sense that he totally did a 180 and he does exactly what he said he wouldn't do. And the most powerful thing that Bernie showed was he brought people together. He raised $180 million outside of big donors. That's a lot of power. He had so much power, and he's siphoning that power into the Democratic Party, and he could bring that power anywhere. Yes, he could be playing some sort of end game where he wants to take over the Democratic Party, but you have to understand, when you have that much power, that much money, you're showing the system, I don't need you. I can raise money outside of that. I don't need your news sources. I have the flow of information. I have money. I have power. I have people connected. I have rallies. And you take all of that and you throw it away and you siphon it towards exactly what you were talking against. It makes absolutely no sense. And another thing is, a lot of Bernie Sanders supporters and Bernie Sanders himself, one of the things he talks about is how corrupt the government is. So it's kind of ironic that the government's this big corrupt thing and you want to go and make it bigger. It doesn't really make sense ideology-wise to me. But these are some things I think everybody should really question it because, whether you're emotionally attached to this man or not, his policies, what he says, the fact that he's had a good track record the past 40, 50 years on civil rights and all of these things he cares about, I think people just need to be honest with themselves and really look what's going on, because he's doing everything he said he wouldn't do, and he's really siphoning all his power, energy, shilling for the Democratic Party. He sounds just like Hillary Clinton or any of the other Democrats. He's touring with them. He could do his own independent tours. He could do whatever he wants, write any book, talk to anybody, and that's what he chooses to do. Whether he got threatened or he signed his life away or not, I don't know. But he's a politician, and it shows a lot about his character. Even if he did get threatened, if he came out and said, you know what, they're threatening me, these people are killing people, they're threatening people, there's a big kill list, he would be a legend. He would expose it, and immediately we have a new president in office now, literally, so we have a system that could take care of all that previous corruption that everybody knows is going on. If Bernie Sanders stood up, he could expose that. He would be a legend. He would go down in history. So I don't use he got threatened. That's no longer a thing, because if you're a real man, if you have real courage, you're going to get threatened. You're going to do some things that are tough, but the greatest people in humanity do. So to me, it looks like he's a giant snake. And that's just how I feel. You're entitled to feel your way. Let me know what you think in the comment section. But it's getting ridiculous how many excuses people are making for this man, and they're trying to create a new party for him. The draft, Bernie, he doesn't want to join your party. He doesn't want to stand up for you. He doesn't care that you lost $180 million. He doesn't care that the Democratic primary is rigged. He just doesn't. I'm sorry. I wish that he did. I loved him. I supported him. I made a song for him. I campaigned for him. But I just can't lie to myself any longer. He's not who I thought he was. And he clearly doesn't care about me. He doesn't care about his supporters. He doesn't care about the lawsuit. He doesn't care about the fact that the Democratic primary is the most rigged part of the election. He doesn't care about the media manipulation and the fact that we have a president who's actively calling out the media for the first time. And the media structure in America is one of the most physically, mentally damaging elements to our society. It's so dishonest, and it's so biased, and it's so negative and unhealthy. It's one of the biggest evils in America. I agree, it is the enemy of the American people. And, the fact that he doesn't stand up to any of them, and he shills for all of these, powers that be, it says a lot about his character, threats or not. So much love. Let me know what you think. God bless. Have a good weekend.